Turning to North Africa now, where nationwide protests are raging for a fourth consecutive day in Morocco. The demonstrations turned violent on Tuesday night. Hundreds of people have taken to the streets across several southern cities demanding better healthcare and education. The youth-led protesters were seen throwing stones at police officers trying to disperse the crowds. Law enforcement has been accused of purposely ramming cars into the demonstrators. Meanwhile, a British MP has commended the actions of the Moroccan police in a comment to a local news agency, calling them, quote, tolerant and restrained.
In Morocco, citizens can demonstrate and law enforcement shows tolerance and restraint in maintaining public order. The kingdom has established itself in the region as a model of peace, security, stability, and the rule of law.
OK, so let's discuss this with RT contributor Martin Jay, joining us live from Morocco now. Many thanks for joining us, Martin. So, first of all, your take on the situation on the ground in Morocco, based on what you're seeing and what you expect the outcome of the protests to be.
There's no easy solution to this problem, which is quite perennial in Moroccan society. You know, for a very, very long time, many Moroccans have been unhappy about how they are governed and how the situation is on a number of polemic subjects, ranging from Morocco's relationship with Israel right down to the basic governance level of how the government deals with corruption and poverty and healthcare. So this is an old problem which I think has been accelerated. It's been brought to the front by the youth movement, which organized itself very quickly after it saw what happened in Asia, countries like Philippines, Indonesia and Nepal just a few days ago, and further accelerated even more by announcements from the government of new spending sprees with regard to Morocco's World Cup endeavours in 4 years' time.
We know the protests have already turned violent. Meanwhile, we've got a British MP describing the police response to the Moroccan protests as restrained and tolerant. Why would a British parliamentary representative be so interested in these protests all the way from London anyway?
It's hard to imagine. The relationship between Britain and Morocco is mysterious, if I can put it that way. Both sides talk up a lot of the time a special relationship, but in reality there isn't a special relationship between these two countries. The will is there, but in reality there isn't really much there. And you know, all sorts of oddballs in the Parliament in London pop up every now and again and want to talk about the situation here, because I think there's an old feeling in Britain and in Europe that for a very, very long time Morocco was seen as the most modern country in the MENA region, and so therefore it was a sort of reference point for everything else. And I think if you look at the bigger picture, you know, the real question now is this youth revolution now going to permeate into other Arab countries? And I'm absolutely certain that would be something that the Gulf royal families will be looking at very, very closely, because in fact just today there is news now that the same youth movement in neighboring Algeria is planning demonstrations for this Sunday as well. So this story is very quickly becoming an international one.
Yeah, like you were saying, last month Nepal experienced significant violent protests. More recently, Madagascar also facing unrest. I mean, is there a pattern? Do you see a pattern emerging in these uprisings? Or is it possible they are distinct and separate events?
Well, the pattern is that I think young people are becoming more and more well-informed, better networked, both domestically and internationally, and increasingly despondent towards the elites which rule them. You know, the complaints are always the same. You know, something needs to be done about corruption. I think at the very beginning, a few days ago, when this flared up so quickly, the hue and cry was about the state of Moroccan public hospitals and schools. But you know, it's expanded beyond that now to corruption and to governance in general. With the schools and hospitals, that's always a low-hanging fruit for protesters in Morocco, because the state of Moroccan hospitals are quite dire. And when government announces news every day about the state of new stadiums which are going to be built for the World Cup, which have better healthcare facilities inside the stadium than most Moroccan hospitals, that you can understand why people flare up and tensions really do start to reach fever point. But I think in Morocco, we have a real problem here with young people. Young people feel that they are in a generation which has been entirely betrayed by the ruling elite. And I think what we've seen in the last few days of violence from the police, the British MP said that the response from the authorities was quite well measured. But I don't think most Moroccans agree with that. Most Moroccans who've watched their TV screens and followed the events closely on social media have been horrified by the brutality of police. And for the police for the government to make announcements on state television that police have been restrained, hinting that they haven't used tear gas and a water cannon, I think that's probably likely to come next, unless something can be done to break this cycle. We need dialogue, we need communication with the government, and the whole social reform package targeted at the youth is well overdue.
Martin, thank you so much for bringing us that update. Speaking to us from Marrakesh is RT contributor Martin J. Thank you.